To the international community and to all concerned observers, the Republic of Tango issues this message with the utmost seriousness. Recent coordinated attacks originating from the countries of Romeo, Omega, and Lima have endangered stability and civilian safety within our fictional borders. This must stop immediately. Continued aggression will only escalate tensions that none of us benefit from. To Romeo, your repeated actions against Tango are being closely monitored. These provocations are not being ignored and will not be tolerated further. Diplomacy has been offered and restraint has been shown, yet hostility continues without justification. Let it be clearly understood that Tango seeks peace, but will not remain passive under continued pressure. Any further escalation will result in firm countermeasures within lawful and defensive limits. To Omega, your involvement in coordinated strikes against Tango is deeply concerning. These actions damage any remaining trust and push the situation further from resolution. We remind all parties that stability cannot be built through aggression or intimidation. Tango maintains its position firmly and responsibly. Any attacks on our city with no warnings will receive their own medicine. A clear message that restraint has limits when repeatedly tested. To Lima, your participation in recent hostilities has not gone unnoticed. Tango has consistently sought dialogue, yet your actions contribute to ongoing instability. We urge an immediate halt to all aggressive operations. Continued interference will force Tango to strengthen its defensive posture. The responsibility for de-escalation rests with those initiating conflict, and that responsibility must now be taken seriously before the situation worsens further. Over recent developments, coordinated hostile actions originating from Romeo, Omega, and Lima have continued to threaten stability, safety, and the basic expectation of peace within our national boundaries. These actions are not isolated misunderstandings. They represent a pattern that must be addressed immediately and responsibly. Tango does not seek escalation. Tango does not seek confrontation. But Tango will not normalize repeated aggression. The time has come for clarity, restraint, and accountability from all involved parties. Let it be clearly stated, our position is defensive, structured, and lawful within all accepted limits of engagement and international conduct. We believe that stability is built through communication, not pressure, through understanding, not disruption. However, when repeated actions continue without correction, silence can no longer be interpreted as weakness. We are watching developments closely. We are documenting every action carefully, and we are maintaining full readiness to respond proportionally, if required. We are watching developments closely. We are documenting every action carefully, and we are maintaining full readiness to respond proportionally if required. This is not a message of intimidation. This is a message of awareness. Your repeated actions against Tango have not gone unnoticed. Each incident adds to a growing record that cannot be ignored indefinitely. Diplomatic patience has been extended. Opportunities for de-escalation have been made available, yet the pattern continues without meaningful change. Let it be understood clearly, Tango does not seek hostility. However, Tango also does not retreat in the face of repeated pressure. We urge immediate reassessment of current actions. Continued escalation will only deepen instability and reduce the space for peaceful resolution. Romeo is encouraged to choose restraint while it remains an available option. To Omega Colon, your involvement in coordinated actions against Tango represents a serious concern for regional stability. Trust is not built through repeated pressure. Stability is not maintained through uncertainty. Every action taken away from dialogue reduces the likelihood of peaceful outcomes. Tango remains firm, composed, and fully aware of the situation developing around it. We repeat clearly and without emotional distortion, any attacks on our city with no warnings will receive their own medicine. This is not a declaration of aggression. It is a declaration of consequence. Actions carry responses, and restraint carries opportunity. The choice remains open, but it will not remain open indefinitely. To Lima Colon, Dutch participation in ongoing hostilities has been observed with increasing concern. Each step further into escalation reduces the possibility of diplomatic recovery. Tango has consistently maintained openness to communication. We have not closed the door to dialogue. However, dialogue requires mutual willingness, not unilateral pressure. We strongly urge an immediate cessation of all aggressive activity. Continued actions will only result in stronger defensive structuring on our side and further distance between our positions. The responsibility for de-escalation is not shared equally when initiation is one-sided. It rests primarily with those who continue the cycle. Lima is advised to consider the long-term consequences of its current trajectory. TANGO remains committed to stability, regional balance, and peaceful coexistence. However, peace is not maintained through passive endurance of repeated actions. We encourage all involved parties, Omega and Lima, to step back from escalation and reconsider their current strategies before irreversible patterns are formed. TANGO remains in a sustained state of heightened monitoring across all strategic points. This is not a declaration of panic, but a structured and controlled security posture, designed to ensure stability under ongoing pressure. All relevant agencies are operating under reinforced coordination protocols. Communication channels remain active, but response readiness has been elevated in accordance with recent developments. We emphasize that these measures are preventative in nature. They exist to ensure that no further destabilizing actions succeed in creating disorder or uncertainty within our territory. On responsibility and accountability, it must be stated clearly that every action taken by Romeo Omega and Lima carries responsibility. There is a direct connection between conduct and consequence in international relations. When actions continue without correction, they shape the environment that follows them. TANGO is not interested in assigning blame for its own sake. However, ignoring repeated patterns is no longer possible. Documentation has been maintained, and all developments are being assessed in real time. We encourage all parties to reflect on the trajectory currently being established and whether it leads toward stability or continued escalation. On communication channels, despite ongoing tensions, TANGO maintains open communication channels. These channels exist for dialogue, clarification, and potential de-escalation at any stage. Their availability is not conditional on current circumstances, because stability requires the possibility of conversation even during disagreement. However, communication must be matched by intent. Without mutual willingness to reduce tensions, communication alone cannot resolve underlying issues. We therefore call upon Romeo Omega and Lima to re-engage with these channels in a constructive and structured manner. On defensive readiness, TANGO's defensive systems remain fully operational and continuously reviewed. This posture is not intended for provocation. It is intended to ensure that any continuation of hostile actions does not succeed in destabilizing essential infrastructure or civilian safety conditions. Let this be the final message from TANGO. The situation involving Romeo Omega and Lima has reached a serious point. Continued actions are no longer being viewed as isolated events, but as a pattern that risks long-term instability for everyone involved. This is not a message of escalation. It is a clear notice of consequence and direction. There is still time to step back and choose a different path. That responsibility now rests with all parties involved.